Welcome, friends. See this old raggedy gate? Time to be out with the old and in with the new. If you want to see how we make this awesome gate, the next 14 minutes, my friends, I'm going to show you how I did it. And it's not as hard as it looks. So stick around. I'm Jason from Jason Design Shop. Let's get started. So, first thing I did was go down to the store and buy a bunch of cedar wood. Well, I spent $203, yeah, and 10 cents. So that's back when wood was pretty high, but it's gotten better. Wood has come down. So I got two of these 4x4s, which are actually, 3.5. Right there, you can see it on the right side of my ridge planer. 3.5. We're going to bring them down and clean them up. They're pretty rough. But as long as they're straight, you really want to get straight wood when you're building a gate or something like this, a door, or things like that. Yeah, ran the 2x4s through. They were also pretty rough. And we get them down just a little bit smaller, but it won't make much difference because I'm going to put them together just like you see there. So, plane these 2x4s down to 1.5 inches. All right, and then we set the planer. Has this cool setting on the side, my ridge planer, that lets you go right to common thicknesses, 1/4, 1/2. Then you just run it down until it hits the set measurement. And I run all my styles through. Sometimes I'm checking to make sure they're coming out all the same thickness because they're going to drop into a groove we're going to cut later on. So, love that clip right there. Go right through the planer, and there's all the wood. Took about half an hour. Plane all that up. It's ready to work. So, start measuring things off. This is going to be about 54 inches tall of a gate. So, clean off the ends. They're pretty rough. I'm going to treat those ends and soak them up with stain later in the end. So I put out my stop block and cut away. Just need two of them though, the left and the right. So I don't know what I'm doing here measuring this and marking it, but I'm just going to use my stop block there and cut it right on the line. Old habits die hard. All right. Don't need that. Now we're going to cut all our 2x4s. This is going to make the top, middle, and bottom cross pieces that will hold all the styles. And I'm going to glue two of them together. So here I'm getting used to my stop block. Love my new table here. Built this in one of the other videos if you want to check that out. Made a miter station, and underneath the camera there is the router station, so I can push wood all the way through down the length of that if I have long things to router. So you'll see here top, middle, and bottom. The single piece is the middle, and the double pieces are the top and the bottom. So you want to line them up and figure out what's going to work best, but it turns out they're not square, of course. So I have to pull out my jig to help, which just elongates the fence and helps you get a really straight cut on all the boards. So now they'll go together much more seamlessly. Although sometimes it's not good enough because that's not a super accurate system, that I'm going to have to bring the planer out. See, I'm trying to pull the gap out of it and realize I'm not going to be able to do that. It's nice, so I pulled the planer out, and any chance to use the planer, well, gotta love it. The hand planer, that is. Not one plane, but two, and slow motion, baby. You gotta love that. But sadly, it's in the corner of the screen. Oh yeah, didn't get any good curls there. All right, well, yeah, that's me using my finger to smooth that glue out, because this is not a fancy shop with rollers for glue. This is a shop that looks like your garage, maybe. Pro tip, put down some masking tape before you pinch these things down, so your cross boards that are pinching will not glue down to the boards. I've had that happen. And you can tear out your wood, which is really annoying, so be careful with that. And you got it. So hold all these down, clean up the little glue spots, and while that dries, we're going to go back to the posts and make some profiles for the top. So just grab a piece of scrap wood, get the width of your piece, and I create a profile I like. I want it to be rising up to the outer edge. And so cut that out with your jigsaw, and then you can repeat that using that piece over and over. These can be really simple like this one, and if you watch a lot of wood videos, you'll see some real technical ones that are useful for making repetitive shapes over and over that you want in your things that you build. So here we're going to put it on each side, and that ensures symmetry. See, they're identical on both sides. There you go. Get the jigsaw and cut that funny curve off. And before I started woodworking, I didn't know you can just push that blade into a piece of wood that was thicker than the blade right? But you can, and then just flip it over and hit the other side and try to match it up the best you can, and there you go. Cuts right out. But that's not very rounded, is it? So we're gonna have to take the belt sander and clean that up. Just hit that one with a snap, and here we go. Let's get belt sander. But you can see how it produces the same thing on both sides. So that could be really convenient when you're trying to create symmetry. You'll see me doing that again here in the next piece, the ones that are drying over there, right here. So we're going to take one of these boards after we get it all off of there and clean up the glue. Sure enough, yeah, got to clean up that glue. Just scrape it off. If you smear it with your hands, oh, it's hard to get out. You're going to have to sand it out. It's going to block out any stain that you've tried to put in. So just let it beat up and then scrape it off and sand it off. So then it's super clean. You can't even hardly see where they go together. It looks like it's that red line, but it's not. Then we got to get to the mortise and tenons. So we're going to get these tenons ready, and they're going to go into the two posts right here for the mortise. This is a nice little jig for that. If you want to get that, it's on my Amazon affiliate link store. So really, if you go to the link and click on it and you buy anything in Amazon, it's going to help me out. So just because I took you to Amazon through that link, they give me some benefit. So if you want to buy anything on Amazon today, click on one of my links down there and it'll take you there. And you can help my channel out. So here's another stencil basically to give me symmetry. I'm doing half the arch on the top of the gate on one side. I cut this out of a board, and then I'll just flip it over and we'll put it on the other side, and that ensures a perfect arch that doesn't look funny to the eye. All right, cut that out with a jigsaw because we don't have a bandsaw yet. We're gonna have to make some more money before we get there, but we're gonna keep working on it. Maybe we can sell some more things this summer. So then it comes out pretty perfect. Not bad for not having a bandsaw. Hit the top part of it, knock the two sides off, and bam, we got a perfect arch on the top of the gate. Love it. So you've probably seen a lot of people put tape to help stop tear out, and I'm foreseeing an issue with this specific piece of wood. The cedar has a very thick grain, and so I just know as I go into it right there, it already pulled it off and it verified it for me. So I got that tape down there. There went another big chunk. So put it down, do the other side, and it held better. And the inside was no problem for some reason, but that worked great. And the same issue came up with sanding here in a second, but I show you the piece that fell off. So I ended up sanding that whole top and everything and really rounding that off. It'd be fun to have a huge bullnose router bit, but I just sanded it all down and it worked pretty good. But while you're sanding, you got to be sure the rotation of the rotating sandpaper there doesn't go under the blade, but sweeps in a circle down off the grain. Otherwise, it goes under the grain and rips the sandpaper up. So be careful of that if you're using this big grain cedar wood, I guess. So if you've enjoyed this, guys, I'd really be honored if you click that subscribe button and maybe click that thumbs up while you're at it, because that's what really gets it out to people. Otherwise, it just gets so many views and just stops and sits there. Nothing happens to it. But if everyone keeps clicking that thumbs up, the algorithm just keeps pushing it out to bigger and bigger groups. And that's how these people get so many views. So love it if you'd all do that. So this has got 3 cross boards, and that's 6 different tenons to cut there on the skill saw. Just put a dado stack on there to do that quickly. Now I'm setting up to do the mortises. I'm marking the depth of the tenon so I know how deep to go into the mortise by marking my chisel depth. Another way to get the right size is to have the chisel that is the size of the mortise. So that chisel is 1 inch wide, and that's how wide my mortise is. My mortises are, sorry. So keep it that way, keep it simple. Rip it out fast like that, and life will be simple. Okay, with that done, we take the middle cross piece and we put a groove on the top and the bottom of it. It's going to go through the middle that the styles are going to go into. Take the bottom one, put a groove in it. We only need 1 groove on the top of it, and in the bottom of the arch piece for the styles to go into, put a groove into that one. That vacuum piece didn't work too well. It's too far away, that curved piece. But looks great. Now we're going to go cut all the styles the right length to fit into those pieces. So we mark them all up and cut them all up. We're good to go. So I don't know why I marked them when I just have a stop block to give me the right length already. So keep making the same extra work. Alright, there's the end piece, putting them all through, and then trimming a rabbit with the dado stack on all of those, and putting in a dry fit to see how they stack, and changing some of them, I think, making it a nice tight fit, get that last one and mark it, and that's where you cut. Then it goes and they all fit in perfect. So I'm marking them because if they're in a different order, it might not fit so perfect. So here we go, put the dry fit together. It's looking good, it's coming together, making me happy, I'm getting excited. Woohoo, I'm too high. This is not good. Standing on a chair, trying to pound it into the mortise for the first time, so of course it's too tight, and that happened. If you see my cranky face, you'll see I was not happy. Well, it hit the corner of the table saw fence. Then I finally get smart and put it down, and I put a ding in it right there, because this wood's pretty soft. Cedar wood's soft, but it lasts good outside in the weather, so that's why I'm using cedar. Looks pretty good. Now we got to measure these off to the right length, and they're all different, right, and have curves to it. So, and I want to have gaps in them, so put them all in there and mark it. But we're not cutting on that mark, then they'll just fall through. It's going to go up into that groove. So add a parallel line 1/4 of an inch up on all of them and jigsaw them off, and now it's going to fit perfect. But I also got a little trick I'm trying to do, is create this crooked gate look, so they're bigger on the top and skinnier on the bottom, and vice versa. And so they has these little gaps in it that are a little uneven, and it gives it a look like that, if you can see that second one. Anyways, it's time to do a final glue up on this thing. So I always spray out all my stuff before I glue up and put it all together, and I redid the bottom, it looks like. And now we're putting all this in because we're going to lock it the top on this time, the one side. Get them as straight as possible, but it turns out they still move a little bit once it's all locked in place. And glue up the other half of that post. I did have one damage I think I've cut out of this video. I pounded in too hard on the bottom and it scrunched the wood. I had to cut it out and reglue it in, and it's on the very, very bottom, so no one will ever see it. But it was disappointing. We're always shooting for perfection in our woodworking, right? And when that happens, it just breaks your heart. But it's solid and no one will ever see it. So one little bit of work to do, and we are ready to put on some seal coat and some stain and everything, so some waterproofing. But we're going to fill up that groove with gaps so they don't slide around, and so water doesn't fill up in there in a rainstorm and just puddle inside the wood, which is always bad. So we cut them and measure it and cut and measure and cut and drop some glue in. And that helps seal those up a little bit and lock them in place so they don't move left or right. All right, there it is in its beauty. We have a gate. And now, waterproof wood finish, transparent. All right, guys, if you love this, sure, subscribe, thumbs up, but leave a comment. Let me know what you think and how I did. So I put this yellow stain on there. It's actually not very yellow. When you get outside, you'll see that the final is more wood looking, right? But it looked very yellow on there. But it's got some self-closing hinges and a string to open latch. And it came out great. I'm stoked with it. My wife loves it. Tell me what you think. And until then, my friends, I will catch you in the next video. Hope to see you soon. Bye.